So my name is Sukant Chandan. I'm 32 years old. I came to this country involuntary. I always say my parents brought me here without my consent. I was 3.5. They brought me here in the winter of 1981, which was the coldest winter since last year's winter. So I came from this permanent summer and sunshine and orange glow and all my cousins and aunts and uncles to here, where I had basically no extended family, no cousins, no aunts and uncles, and it was very cold. All the trees were black, and yeah, it was a very, very different place. And the first place I lived in this country for several years was Southall in West London, and then I lived in Ealing Broadway, and then I've been living in West Ealing since West Ealing in West London since 1990 or so. I'm going to talk about history of hip hop through my own personal life experience. I remember when I first came to this country, my father used to sing a couple of songs to me, which have always been stuck in my head. Two particular songs. One was Buffalo Soldier by Bob Marley, who now my own son knows off by heart. He's 5 years old. And the other one was Pass the Dutchie by Musical Youth. They were the two big kind of black culture music, really, that I first engaged with and come to this country. So I was like about my son's age, about 5 years old. And they're both quite conscious songs. They're both political songs, essentially, songs of resistance in a way. Pass the Dutchie is an interesting song. If you look at the video, it's all about young Caribbean people in this country who have to deal with the law and poverty and these different things. And Buffalo Soldier is a really interesting song about the journey of black people from Africa through the transatlantic slave trade to North America and their role in that land. So that was interesting. By the time I ended primary school, in the last years before going to high school, so this is about 10, 11, 12 years old, me and all my friends were really into the pop music, the mainstream pop music of that time, and this will show you the massive contrast to what the pop music is today. We were into Salt and Pepper, Push It, and all the other kind of songs. We were into Rebel MC, Street Tough, Rough Like a Ninja, Stinging Like a Bee, Here by Public Demand, Now You're Dancing with a One-Man Band. Still remember the lyrics now, since then. And so it was still, again, and Nena Cherry, Buffalo Stance and stuff, Cookie Crew, We Papa Girl rappers. So again, all of this music was quite socially relevant, let's say. You know, if it wasn't overtly political, it was positively confident. So you had Salt and Pepper, these sassy young black women, very confident, you know, there's a group of women respecting themselves and stuff. Rebel MC, who went on to be Congo Natty in the drum and bass scene, you know, Conscious Brother, talking about race and poverty and these kind of things. And so these were like, you know, at the Smash Hits party in 1989, if you see on YouTube, it's like a conscious party, and that was Smash Hits mainstream. At the same time, NWA came about, the N-word with attitude, No Whites Allowed. So I was like 11, 12 years old when we started to listen to that. And NWA were interesting. They were kind of a contradictory phenomenon, which really made gangster rap blow up in the scene. So on the one hand, they were talking, you know, referring to sisters as B's and H's and stuff. But on the other hand, they were really politically militant, you know, with F the Police, you know, being their most popular song, probably. So at the age of 11, 12, when you're hearing all this stuff, although some of it's negative, it had a radical impact. For the first time, and this is the case for millions of other young people at the time, I'm sure, it's the first time we heard, you know, these really extreme swear words and stuff in rap, and that was exciting. So that was interesting. Then the first few years of high school, I got into some rock music and punk music as well. I got into skateboarding, but I was still into rap. And at the last few years of primary school, it was all about that type of conscious rap and conscious pop music with the Pan-Africanist leather medallions, the wallaby shoes, the ghetto blasters on people's shoulder. I still remember someone with a ghetto blaster walking past my primary school on his shoulder, pumping some hip-hop and stuff. So it was really, really colourful, interesting time. But also through that time with NWA and the Two Live Crew and other rap groups, gangster rap emerged, and that really blew up with Dr. Dre and Snoop with their Doggy Style album, which came in '93. So '93, '94, you see this transition period from conscious rap to what's known as gangster, quote unquote, rap. But still, '93, '94, '95, we still had an amazing amount of different hip hop groups. Now, at the same time, we were feeding off US based hip hop. Here, in the same time, what emerged in the beginning of the 90s, right at the end of the 80s, beginning of the 90s, was our own music, really, which is indigenous to young people here, which has a very strong influence of, again, black culture, the transatlantic black culture, you can say. That's reggae sound system, that's US-based rap and hip-hop, and we fused that here with our own attitude, and that produced acid house, which then went on to produce hardcore, happy hardcore, hardcore junglist, then junglist and the whole jungle music scene, and that developed in the drum and bass scene, which itself continued developing into the other offshoot was house and garage, which continued to develop into the SKB, which was the beginnings of the grime scene, and then the dubstep scene that kind of came out of that. So you can see there's a common heritage, really, of all our youth culture. So in '93, '94, '95, what you had was a lot of conscious rap, Tribe Called Quest, Black Moon, Black Sheep, Public Enemy, Tupac Shakur, and I think Tupac really sums up the transition of this period.